Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. If you are watching this, you probably have access to one of the most powerful cognitive engines ever built by human hands, Gemini 3.0. But I'm going to go out on a limb here and guess that you are using about 5% of its actual capability. Most people treat large language models like a glorified Google search. You type in a question, you get a generic answer, and you move on. Maybe you ask it to write an email, and it sounds like a robotic HR department from the 1990s. The problem isn't the model. The problem is the context vacuum.
Today, we are doing a deep dive into Gemini 3.0. We aren't just looking at the specs, though we will cover the architecture. We are going to focus on the single most effective way to upgrade your output: system instructions, persona adoption, and expertise conditioning. We're going to turn this generalist model into a specialist laser. By the end of this video, you won't just be prompting, you'll be engineering cognitive architectures. Let's get into it. Part 1. The architecture of Gemini 3.0. Before we can manipulate the model, we have to understand what we are actually talking to.
Gemini 3.0 represents a significant shift from the monolithic models of the past. Under the hood, Gemini 3.0 is built on a highly advanced mixture of experts, or MOE, architecture. In a traditional dense model, every single parameter is active for every single prompt. That's computationally expensive and, frankly, inefficient. In Gemini 3.0, the model is divided into specialized subnetworks, or experts. When you send a prompt, a routing mechanism determines which experts are best suited to handle your request. It activates only those pathways. This gives us faster inference and much higher reasoning capabilities, because the model isn't trying to be everything at once. It's dynamically assembling the right team for the job. But here is the catch. When you open a fresh chat window, Gemini 3.0 is in a neutral state. The routing mechanism is idling. It is waiting for a signal. If you ask a generic question like, "How do I write Python code for a web scraper?" the router activates a very broad generalist set of weights. It gives you the average of the internet. It's competent, sure, but it's vanilla. To unlock the high-level reasoning capabilities, the PhD-level logic, you have to force the router's hand. You have to tell the model exactly who it is supposed to be. This is where persona engineering comes in. Part 2. The science of persona conditioning. Why does telling an AI, "You are an expert software engineer," actually change the output? It sounds like magic, or worse, superstition. It's actually math. Think of the large language model as a massive, multi-dimensional map of concepts, what we call the latent space. In this space, the concept of coding is close to Python, which is close to errors, which is close to Stack Overflow. When you define a persona, you are applying a massive filter to the probabilistic distribution of the next token. If I say, "Write a blog post about coffee," the model looks at the entire universe of words associated with coffee. It might be casual, it might be scientific, it might be marketing fluff. But if I say, "You are a weary, cynical barista with 20 years of experience who hates pumpkin spice," I have fundamentally altered the mathematical probability of the next word. The model is now restricted to a specific subspace of its training data. It cuts off access to the cheerful marketing weights and heavily activates the sarcastic service industry weights. With Gemini 3.0, this effect is amplified because of its massive context window and multimodal reasoning. 3.0 holds the system instruction, the definition of who it is, much more rigidly than previous versions. It doesn't forget its character 10 turns into the conversation. So how do we leverage this? We stop asking for tasks and we start assigning roles. Part 3. The framework. Role, context, constraint. I want to give you a framework I use for every single interaction with Gemini 3.0. I call it the RCC framework. Role, context, constraint. Let's break this down. The role. This is the who. Never just say "write code." Instead, say, "You are a senior systems architect specializing in high concurrency distributed systems using Go and Rust." Do you see the difference? The first prompt accesses the junior developer subspace. The second prompt accesses the enterprise architecture subspace. You are signaling Gemini 3.0 to utilize its most complex reasoning patterns. The context. This is the why and where. You are writing this code for a mission-critical financial trading platform where latency must be under 50 milliseconds. Now the model understands the stakes. It won't give you a sloppy Python script. It will look for optimization strategies. The constraint. This is the how. Do not use external libraries unless absolutely necessary.
Comment every function with big O notation. Maintain a professional, terse, technical tone. This prevents the model from adding fluff. It strips away the conversational, "here is the code you asked for," chatter and gives you raw, usable output. Part 4. Real-world scenarios. Let's look at 3 distinct scenarios where applying this persona methodology to Gemini 3.0 completely changes the game. Scenario 1. The code review. Let's say you have a block of messy code you wrote at 2 a.m. You want Gemini to fix it. The bad prompt. Fix this code. Gemini 3.0 will look for syntax errors. It will make it run. That's it. The optimized prompt. Role. You are a hostile security researcher and penetration tester. Task. Analyze the following code snippet. Constraint. Do not be nice. Ruthlessly identify security vulnerabilities, potential memory leaks, and logic flaws. Assume the user is an attacker trying to break this system. Rate the code's security on a scale of 1 to 10 and explain exactly how you would exploit it. The result? Gemini 3.0 shifts gears. It stops being a helpful assistant and becomes a critical auditor. It will find SQL injection vulnerabilities or buffer overflows that the helpful assistant persona would have glossed over because it was prioritizing politeness over rigor. Scenario 2. Content creation. Let's say you are writing a script for a video, maybe even one like this. The bad prompt. Write a script about AI. You will get a Wikipedia summary. AI is artificial intelligence. It is very good. In conclusion, AI is the future. Boring.
Role. You are an investigative journalist with a flair for dramatic storytelling, similar to the style of a high-budget documentary narrator. Context. We are explaining the dangers of unaligned AI to a general audience. Constraint. Use analogies involving fire and electricity. Keep sentences short and punchy. No technical jargon without an immediate explanation. The tone should be urgent but hopeful. Gemini 3.0 immediately changes its syntax. It starts using rhetorical questions. It varies sentence length to control pacing.
It stops outputting information and starts outputting narrative. Scenario 3. Data analysis. Gemini 3.0 has a massive context window, up to 2 million tokens in some configurations. You can upload a 500-page financial report. The bad prompt. Summarize this PDF. You'll get the executive summary that's already on page 1. The optimized prompt. Role. You are a forensic accountant searching for corporate malfeasance. Task. Analyze the attached financial statements. Constraint. Ignore the CEO's letter and the marketing sections. Focus exclusively on the footnotes and the cash flow statement.
Look for discrepancies between reported revenue and actual cash flow. Flag any vague language regarding miscellaneous expenses. By telling Gemini 3.0 to be a forensic accountant, you are telling it to prioritize skepticism. You are telling the attention mechanism of the transformer model to weight the footnotes higher than the headlines. Part 5. The meta prompt technique. Now I want to share a secret weapon. I call this the meta prompt. Sometimes you don't know what the best persona is. You have a complex problem, and you don't know if you need a mathematician, a programmer, or a philosopher. So ask Gemini 3.0 to hire the team. Here is the prompt. I have a problem regarding insert problem. I want you to act as a prompt engineer.
Analyze my problem and recommend the ideal persona, context, and constraints I should give you to solve this problem most effectively. Do not solve the problem yet, just design the prompt. This is incredibly meta, but it works. Gemini 3.0. You need to ask me to act as a discrete mathematician specializing in graph theory. You then take that output, paste it back in, and watch the magic happen. You are using the AI to configure the AI. Part 6. Performance, cost, and efficiency. We need to talk about the economics of this. You might think writing these long, detailed paragraphs about personas is a waste of time. I just want the answer. But consider the time to correctness. If you use a short, lazy prompt, you usually get a result that is 60% correct. You then have to prompt it again. No, not like that. Add this. Fix that bug. You end up going back and forth 10 times. That is 10 API calls. That is 10 times the token cost. And it is 20 minutes of your life. If you spend 2 minutes crafting a high-fidelity persona prompt, Gemini 3.0 gets it 95% right on the first shot. With Gemini 3.0's pricing model, input tokens are cheaper than output tokens. It is always, mathematically, more cost-effective to provide a long, detailed instruction, input, to get a concise, perfect answer, output, than it is to provide a short instruction and get a long, rambling, incorrect answer. Furthermore, Gemini 3.0 introduces context caching. If you have a specific persona, say your company's brand voice or a specific coding style guide, you can cache that context. You load the persona once, and then every subsequent query references that cached state without you having to re-upload the instructions every time. This reduces latency and slashes costs for high-volume workflows. Part 7. Handling hallucinations with personas. We also need to address the elephant in the room, hallucinations. Even Gemini 3.0 can lie. It can invent facts. However, persona adoption is one of the best defenses against hallucinations. Why? When you assign a persona like you are a rigorous academic researcher and you add the constraint, if you do not know the answer, state clearly that you do not know, do not fabricate citations, you are conditioning the model's confidence thresholds. The default helpful assistant persona hates saying, "I don't know." It wants to please you. It will make up a book title just to give you an answer. The rigorous academic persona prioritizes accuracy over helpfulness. By explicitly telling Gemini 3.0, you are penalized for incorrect information, you shift the internal weights. The model becomes more conservative. It checks its own internal consistency before generating the token. Part 8. The future of agentic workflows. As we look at what Gemini 3.0 enables, we are moving away from chatbot and toward agent. An agent is just a model with a persistent persona and the ability to use tools. Imagine setting up a workflow with 3 instances of Gemini 3.0. Instance 1, the researcher, persona, data scientist. It scrapes the web and compiles data. Instance 2, the writer, persona, copywriter. It takes the data from instance 1 and drafts a report. Instance 3, the editor, persona, senior editor. It takes the draft from instance 2 and critiques it, sending it back for revisions if necessary. You can orchestrate this entire flow simply by defining the personas correctly. You are building a virtual company inside a Python script or a LangChain flow. Gemini 3.0's native multimodal capabilities make this even crazier. You can have a video analyst persona that watches raw footage and timestamps interesting events, passing that text to a scriptwriter persona. Summary and conclusion. So let's recap. Gemini 3.0 is a beast, but it is a beast that needs a master. If you treat it like a search bar, you get search results. If you treat it like a cognitive engine, you get brilliance. Remember the RCC framework. 1. Role. Who is the model? The expert. 2. What is the situation? 3. Constraint. What are the rules? The format and tone. Stop accepting the default vanilla personality of the AI. It is the average of human knowledge, and you do not want average results. You want the outlier. You want the expert. Next time you open Gemini, don't just ask a question. Assign a job. Give it a title. Tell it to act like the smartest person in the room regarding that specific topic. The results will speak for themselves. If you found this deep dive helpful, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'm dropping a PDF in the description below with my top 50 system prompts for developers, data scientists, and writers, so you can copy-paste these architectures directly into your workflow. Go engineer some intelligence. I'll see you in the next one.